And we are green for round 5 here at Spa. Alessandro Gueretti leading us from pole position. Dehaan is going to go for this wheel to wheel, and Dehaan has gone off.
Robert, you get back the position.
The opportunity now for Ardiel Levy.
Late on the brakes, he runs into the back of Dehaan.
Alessandro Gueretti takes his second win of the season.
Yeah, let's go!
From tricky Spa to lovely beautiful sight on a lovely Saturday morning in Budapest. Hello everyone and welcome to one of the great cities in the world. It is time for the Porsche Mobil 1 Super Cup in round 6 of the season. We are reaching the conclusion of our journey here in season 33. It's a circuit that runs to 4.3 kilometers, 2.7 miles. You've got 14 turns for the drivers to navigate, and I can bet you that these Porsche Super Cup drivers will be mounting the curbs absolutely everywhere as they try and extract all of the margin around this circuit. Top speed is reached, of course, down at our prime overtaking zone at turn number 1. It's one of the great circuits, and it's now about to see Porsche Mobil 1 Super Cup in action as the cars leave the pit lane and make their way out on the circuit. Some incredible circuit this place is, and it is ready for Porsche Mobil 1 Super Cup cars as well. It is great to have your company wherever you might be joining us from in the world. It is one of the great circuits, as we mentioned, and it is a circuit that beckons to hopefully great lap times and lap times at the limit. In the commentary box, my name is Omi, delighted to be with you as per normal, and alongside me is absolutely no one, as it always is in the Super Cup. But don't worry, because we've always enjoyed bringing you these sessions, and we will continue to do so as well. Alessandro Gueretti out there on the circuit, who is of course your new championship leader, leaving Spa. He leads the Porsche Mobil 1 Super Cup now in 2025 as he looks to win it all and take the crown this year. Robert Dehaan in second place, and everyone I speak to, what I like to describe this season as is the opportunity of the drivers who did not get to show their talent last year. You had the greats of Larry Tenforda, of Harry King, and Gueretti and Dehaan were both kind of pushed to the side a little bit. They were having to play second fiddle. This is the year where King is gone. Tenforda's retired after so many years in this series. It was over to the new drivers, the new guns, to come in and to give it their all. And that's the chance that they have given themselves. So it is great to have these drivers out there who are currently delivering and giving us a great championship fight. We mentioned Dehaan, a second season he's begun, and his rival, one of his rivals for the title. Of course, you have Gueretti P1, but Schuring is in his first season. He would be the first ever driver as a rookie to win the championship since Earl Bamber. Yes, it has happened before. You may have thought the way I was going with that sentence that we'd never seen it in Porsche Super Cup history, but do not worry, we have indeed. Yesterday, by 0.5 of a second, it was Jaap van Lagen, the driver who you can see currently on the top of our timing board. He was the driver who was on top in practice by a very good margin. Jaap van Lagen chasing a historic return, as he always does as well. He's always gunning for it, is Jaap van Lagen. The old lion, I guess, is a good way of describing him. Well, he's an old lion, but we've got newcomers, and we mentioned Robert Dehaan in his second season, rookie champion last year. We can hear from him now about this year.
So yeah, last year we were not so lucky here, but no, for sure this year I think we are better prepared and we take lessons from what we learned last year. We had great speed in testing, so hopefully we can just move that onwards towards the race and the race weekend and qualifying. So yeah, really happy to be back in the car for the second half of the season after a small summer break. And I think the team and everyone did a great job to prepare everything as best as they can.
Harry King, the winner here for the last 2 years in a row. So they absolutely know how to do it. Dulekna Racing. And that is the data that Robert Dehan is talking to you about. The data that they've got from winning last year gives him a good opportunity. And the most important thing, well, will be overtaking your championship rival Guiretti, beating your championship rival along with Schuring as well. Just making sure that you're finishing ahead of them. Even if we get a brilliant win, let's say for Theo Overhouse, who returns back to form, or someone like Jaap van Lagen. Just beat your rival, be consistent, and sometimes that can be the critical result that takes you to the championship by the end of the year. It has been close so far this year. We expect it to be close all the way till we end the season in Monza. We, of course, started our journey at Imola with a triple header. We journeyed our way to Monaco, and then we ended that triple header in Barcelona. We returned about a month later in Austria, and then we had to wait 1 more month until we were at Spa, and after that it has now landed us to the Hungaroring in round 6. Round 7 will be the Netherlands. That's where we will be after the summer break takes place, and it will be a back-to-back. It will be a double header with the Temple of Speed, where we will look to crown a champion, and we will also say goodbye to an era of Porsche Supercup, if I can get my words out, as well, because we've got a new car coming for 2026. It has been in the testing process, and we cannot wait to be bringing that to these Formula 1 circuits next year. So we'll have a new car, so it will be an end of an era as well. So it won't just be the end of another season. It'll be a new era that will begin in 2026. We are still awaiting the announcement of any calendar news for the Porsche Supercup of what circuits we'll be tackling. We expect it to be the same European ones, but you know, sometimes you can just get some extra ones thrown in there. Who knows? As it stands, the two Proton Huber competition drivers pushing on. It is a faster lap being set by Jaap van Lagen's teammate so far, Theo Overhouse, who is going quicker in the first and in the second sector. So, turn number 14, that is the final turn that you have to navigate. You stand on the power. Formula cars would have DRS, no DRS for the Super Cup though. You send it across the line, fastest last sector for Van Lagen, but he's been beaten by Overhouse. To second position we go with Cas Havercourt, and he's had his lap time deleted. So Havercourt went into second and then got his lap time deleted immediately, and it now means that it's Robert Dehan. Now it's Ariel Levy. Plenty of GP Elite drivers in the field as we mentioned. So Schuring also goes to second place, but these lap times will be getting quicker and faster and faster and faster. That is always the way in the Porsche Mobil 1 Super Cup. We are on board with Dehan, who was telling you about Robert Dehan, how last year was a challenge around the circuit and how he doesn't want that to be the case this year, and he wants to use the data that they gathered last year to ensure that it's a good result. He's up by 0.2 of a second to Overhouse in the first sector. The yellow flags you would have seen at the top of screen were just flying. Dehan down towards the chicane. It's a very challenging chicane which you mount the curb. Now, in previous years we've had plenty of track limit issues. Loads of penalties coming drivers' way. And that is something that the field will have to try and avoid here today. But this, of course, the location. We mentioned Harry King has won here 2 years in a row. Last year, it was a big win for Harry King in his championship ambitions, because Larry Tenfjorda had won every race till this point, and then finally came the moment for Harry King to stand on the top step. as well. So it has been quite fascinating over the years, this circuit. Round the final corner we go. Let's see what lap time we've got on the board by Lechner Racing's Robert Dehan. Does not improve. 13th position is a risky position to be in when you are a championship contender. Gueretti's in 14th. And going for a spin was Jaap van Lagen. It was Van Lagen spinning. And it was Overhouse directly in behind there, having to take avoiding action. So it's Overhouse on pole position right now. Provisional pole belongs to him. As we had Martinez off at turn 1. So that was on the exit as he made his way by. Cas Havercourt pushing on as well. Dipping some tyres into the gravel strip for good measure. That tells you how much he's pushing on. But Marvin Klint is a driver who was on pole position here in Budapest last year, but then due to a grid penalty, that's what gave the chance to Harry King. And that's how important pole position can be around this place. It is tricky to overtake. So qualifying here near the front, or right at the front, is very important. Havercourt rotating the car through turn 13. You want to take the wide line to give yourself the berth and give yourself the traction into 14. Dehan is on a response further back. Okay, Cas Havercourt, let's go over the line with him and see what Havercourt can do. He cuts the beam and it's P5. Not the best last sector, so he'll analyse what went wrong there on this specific lap. Hoeven Eindhoven to 4th, Gueretti with a critical lap to 3rd, make that 4th now, because going ahead is Robert Dehan, going ahead is Marvin Klin and Jaap van Lagen. 1st, 2nd and 4th for them respectively, which you can see on screen at the moment. Let's ride on board with Keegan Masters, round the last turn. Foot to the floor, P7 is the answer for Keegan Masters, trying to master this circuit. Yannick Stiak has improved up to 17th. Deli Guranti takes it away immediately. Francesco Braschi goes to 10th. Nice improvement there as well for Francesco Braschi. Having to get out of it is Mathis Jaubert, the driver, who is the only driver to not have recorded a lap time on the board with 19 minutes and 22 seconds to go. Really having a struggle at the moment. Really having a struggle when it comes to it. Dehan continues his push. Improving. Further back, we have Martinez. Marvin Klin is at the front now because a lap time deleted for Robert Dehan leaves him in 21st position. A lap time deleted for Dehan. And Marvin Klin now is the one who is left to push on and pick up the pieces. Yellow flags. The drivers that were pushing on in the yellow flags. Now, Overhouse was critically involved. Overhouse, I saw, went through it. I'm not suggesting to you one bit that he speeded, but he could be one of the drivers who may be investigated. That's the only one we saw from the replay going by. He may have absolutely backed out of it. I'm not trying to say that he was at fault, but it's just a driver who may possibly have that scenario. Right, Dehan to 2nd, Gueretti to 3rd. You've got the two title contenders together on the circuit in 2nd and 3rd, but they are both behind Marvin Klin, who is ahead of the field by 2.5 tenths of a second. That is mega stuff from Marvin Klin. Trying to get back to form, trying to enjoy more race victories this year is Marvin. And he's absolutely going for it, isn't he? The Lechner Racing driver, currently 1 and 2 for them. Then it's the Proton Huber competition drivers in 4th and 5th. Let's look at a replay. This was Pietro Deli Guranti into the first turn and a huge lock-up from the tyres and then kicking up the dust. Dehan continues his push. So the margins are close through most of the field, but not the case. Not the case when it comes to first and second. That is the advantage. By this year's standards, that's the advantage that Clint has. But you can bet your bottom dollar that everyone will be close and closing in, rather. This is not the way that we'll end the session, and to be fair, Jalbert has not got a lap time on the board. He's all the way at the back. Yanis Stiak has had a lap time deleted as well. So Stiak in the pit lane has had a lap time deleted. Jalbert is setting a pace that could improve him possibly to the front row. Let's see. Turn 14 is navigated. Has he been able to keep it within the white lines this time around is the question. He was definitely up to the white line on the exit of turn 14, and he's 200s back from Clint. That is P2 for Matisse Jalbert. Nice improvement. A lap time that Jalbert needed. Mika Hakkinen was among the VIP drivers in the Super Cup's debut season in 1993, and he clinched his second win at the Hungaroring as well. Mika Hakkinen, a driver who we've had in the Porsche Super Cup, and earlier this year in Monaco there was a Legends talk for the Porsche Super Cup. You had David Coulthard and you had Mika Hakkinen, who was providing that to the drivers. Analysis there. It's Clint who's 2 tenths ahead of Jalbert in Sector 1. Then Jalbert's quicker in Sector 2. And then it leaves them all fighting in Sector 3. Jalbert, though, I think he's doing a double push here, because he's completed that lap and he's now improving still in the first sector. So that's a personal best being set by Jalbert. Over the chicane. Want to run it right out towards the grass. Sometimes even graze the grass, because that tells you that you have pushed right to the limit. It can come down to thousandths. That's wide. That's wide. We'll have to confirm that one with the steward, whether that one will count. Of course, there are certain parts of the circuit where it's monitored, and it's not an improvement to the second sector for Jalbert, but he's still up by 6 thousandths. So he could have done better in that second sector, but he'll still be in contention if he can get a good third sector. That is what is the goal for Jalbert. A double push lap. First lap got him into second place, 200s behind. The next lap, can it get him to provisional pole at the moment? It can! By 1,000th of a second. Jalbert is beating Marvin Klein by the closest margin it can be without it being equal. 0.001 separating our top two. We mentioned it would close in. That is how close it can be in the Super Cup. Remarkable. But question is, well, first of all, there was a lot of improvement on the line, but question is, did that one count? Was that one within the white lines? Or will that be a lap time that will see Marvin Klein promoted back to P1? Extraordinary stuff. The Michelin tyres there being changed down at Lechner Racing, who have just seen the improvement for Jalbert. Klein will get the opportunity to assess. And yeah, lap time deleted there for Jalbert. We predicted it. And Marvin Klein giving a little thumbs up to the camera down there. And he's doing so as our provisional pole sitter once again. So we questioned whether Jalbert's lap time would stay. We were correct. It did not stay. So it's now Klin who leads Jalbert by 200ths. Then it's Gueretti in third. Overhaus, Van Lagen, Schuring, Dehaan. And then it is going to be Frank Porte Ruiz, Alexander Tauscher, and Keegan Masters. That is your top 10 at the moment here in the Porsche Mobil 1 Super Cup. They are in the pit lane, all assessing when to go out. We've only got one driver out there on the current circuit. That is Jalbert, who has had to go different to everyone else due to the early lap time deletions that he had. Now, Yanis Stiak, the rookie driver, will need to go on the attack, and he's going to leave himself with a lot of pressure, I have to say, come the final stages, because he's 26, make that 20, really just averagely 27 seconds off the pace, if we nicely average it up for you. The fans in the grandstands looking on, and currently enduring a sight of one driver navigating this challenging, tough circuit. Monaco without the walls is what lots describe this place. But what I can tell you from previous years, it can be a brawl in the Super Cup. So it might, while it might be Monaco without the walls, you can absolutely overtake around this place. It is absolutely possible. You have so many different possibilities. Everyone watching on from the Paddock Club, they would of course be about to endure. This is a session in the middle of Formula 3 Sprint and FP3, so they would be about to endure a Formula 1 practice in a few moments time. Time for an interview. Let's hear in a few moments
I
time
never test this year in
Mathis
Budapest, but there is many opportunities to overtake, and especially turn 1. I like sector 2, but it's tricky to overtake with all these special corners and tricky corners, but turn 1 is the main opportunity to overtake. The secret is to be qualifying quite well, a good start, and after we see that the past years, every time the guy who is in front after turn 1 is in front at the end of the race.
He mentioned the struggle that the drivers can have through the second sector when it comes to overtaking. That is why qualifying is very important. And the drivers, with 11 minutes to go, everyone's in the pit lane, and they will be preparing and getting themselves ready to head out onto the circuit to attack this 4.381 kilometer circuit, or if you prefer it in miles, 2.7. We've got 25 drivers from 11 countries. We've got 3 non-permanent drivers this weekend as well, and we find ourselves with car 6 not participating this weekend. That's Proton Huber Competitions car 13 of Hideka Racing, car 21 of GP Elite, and car 28 of Target Motorsport. All of those ones that we've seen across the rest of this year for selected rounds are not going to be featuring in round number 6 this weekend. But you were just getting the analysis of how difficult it can be to overtake around this circuit. Sometimes, though, over the years I can assure you that in the middle sector that we have seen overtakes be made. Drivers have been able to go for overtakes as well. Yannis Diak, the youngest driver in the field, he's out there on the circuit, and he's out there for what we mentioned will be very important, because he needs to find an improvement. He's not got a respective lap time on the board. Marvin Klein has a gap of 0.4 of a second to Robert DeHaan. So keep an eye on that battle. More and more cars being pushed into the fast lane to get themselves out onto the circuit. The teams, the mechanics, all having to be careful with how they release their cars, because they basically get pushed out into the fast lane and then they go forward. So you don't want to you don't want to run into someone else's path, because it can be quite scary. So Robert DeHaan is finding himself just ahead of Pietro Deli Garanti on the circuit. So they're battling for track position. Then you've got the Hideka Racing car of Michele Scona as well. Kaz Havercourt in 12th at the moment. He of course had the retirement last time out, where he went into the back of a Scona down at turn 1 and then pulled over to the side of the road and called it a day. Did Havercourt. So he's a driver desperate to fight back and desperate to contend. If you are new to the Porsche Mobil 1 Super Cup, tomorrow we will be handing out 25 points for the winner. And you might think that I'm just about to read out the exact same points that Formula 1 get. Not at all, because second place gets 20, third place gets 17, fourth gets 14, and then it goes down with fifth getting 12, sixth place gets 10, and then it's 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, all the way down to P15. 15 drivers have the opportunity to score points in a Porsche Mobil 1 Super Cup race, and it's points that absolutely everyone would love to endure with at the end of the weekend, would love to have in their back pocket. And we will continue emphasizing the points in the Super Cup across the weekend and across the next few rounds. Other well-known VIP entries in Budapest have included Ralf Schumacher, that was in 1995, and Timo Glock in 2023. We were, of course, broadcasting you the race in 2023. And it was the third year of the Porsche Mobil 1 Supercup when Ralf Schumacher got himself in as a VIP entry. You can get quite a lot of good VIP entries. Lots of fan favourites from Formula 1, but not just that. Also series like MotoGP, we had Jorge Lorenzo come in. Which, I mean, you can even look at the thumbnail for this qualifying session. And if you look at the thumbnail, we've put an image of Jorge Lorenzo's car as well. So don't worry. That was on purpose, but also it was a good image to have. I purposely make sure, guys. I purposely make sure that we give you the best images possible for the thumbnails every single round. And for the first time, actually, for the race thumbnail, but I've given you a full shot of the entire grid making their way through. Okay, enough yapping. And more talking about, well, more yapping, but still yapping in terms of the action on the circuit. Here we go, Robert Dehan on the attack. Turn 1 comes up. It is the highest speed that you reach around this Porsche Supercup circuit. It's foot to the floor once again. It's 245 kilometers per hour, by the way, is what is reached down at turn 1. That is the highest speed you'll get to. You make your way through turn 2. You come over, set it up for a good exit through turn 3. The car getting away from you momentarily on the exit there. Then you arrive into turn 4 uphill. And Robert Dehan does so with a 10.5 improvement so far on Marvin Klin. So the Leclerc Racing driver going quicker and quicker. We heard from him earlier on in the session after a race to forget in Hungary 1 year ago. He wants to avenge that. Wants to use all of the good historic data that Leclerc Racing have, but use it to his own good across this round, but most of all for his championship battle this year. It is expected to be a great fight between Schumacher CLRT and also Leclerc Racing. Every single point that you can get is vital, and both Leclerc Racing drivers absolutely look on it. It's very nearly a 4/10 improvement by the time we've completed the second sector with Robert Dehan. No one's going quicker through those sectors so far on this lap, but you are going to get more and more improvement. This is turn number 13 that Dehan is flicking the car through, and then turn number 14 with a bit of traffic ahead that'll be out of the way. Robert Dehan flashing the headlight to ensure that is absolutely the case. And now you've done all the hard work. You just stand on the power, wait for the line to come, and see what is the improvement. A mammoth 0.8 of a second for Robert Dehan. It was fastest of all in sector 1, 2 and 3. Here come the lap times. Stiak needed a lap, gets a lap. That's P2 at the moment, 7/10 away. Stiak ahead of Ascona. Brasky gets into second place. Now the field will begin to tumble. The circuit improving massively. It's been a very dusty day so far across the Formula 3 sprint. And now in this session, it is still proving to be very dusty. Fastante goes into 8th. Marvin Klein is about to improve. Dirk Schutten improves to the front row. Klin is going quickly, but not as quickly as Flynn Schuring, who is fastest of all in Sector 2. So Klin is down on his teammate right now, but the one to watch is Flynn Schuring, because that's a very good middle sector. It's the best middle sector that we have seen so far. So let's follow Flynn Schuring, the rookie driver, coming out of the final corner. The fastest first sector goes to Ascona. This is a highly competitive session. Right. Here we go. Giretti improves to the front row. Flint Schuring goes all the way to pole. Schuring, Dehan, Giretti, and then in 4th position there is going to be coming into play with Havacourt. Borakamps into 2nd, Levy into 3rd. The improvements are major, and Robert Dehan is gunning for it at the moment. He is giving it his all. Into turn 13. He is down, so he is giving himself some time to make up in this last sector. Let's see whether he will be able to do it. This is turn number 14 on the circuit. And Robert Dehan will now look to see whether the time is there. The driver who went on to pole, dropped to 4th, goes to 3rd. Lost time in the 3rd sector there. Did Robert Dehan. Fastest first sector goes to Marvin Klein, who's fighting the improvement. The driver all the way down in P12. Now, 12th is where he finds himself in. It was the fastest first sector for Klein. Oh, he's all over the grass on the exit there. all over the grass. Overhouse is now going quickest of all in the first sector. The driver who took pole position earlier this year in Imola. Levy's improving in the first sector. Personal bests are everywhere. Our timing board is right now being lighted by purple or green. There are so many drivers going for it. Borakamps at the moment is on for a front row start. Klin is on his way possibly to get himself onto pole position. Levy is now setting the pace through the middle sector. Borakamps has lost time in that second sector that we've been mentioning, where Levy's going quickest so far. This is wide open like we've never seen before. Marvin Clyde, the driver in P14, could be about to get the improvement all the way to the top of the table, but it might only be for a second. Let's see what he does. He lost time in the last sector and it's P5. Here is, though, the improvement. Havercourt, P2. What can Ariel Levy do? Oh, he's missed out. He's missed out. So is Borakamps. GP Elite drivers are currently together, second, third and fourth. It is Schuring, then it's Levy, then it's Borakamps, then it's Havercourt, then it's Dehaan. 1 minute and 10 seconds to go. Does anyone else have an improvement to deny the rookie Flint Schuring a pole position in the Super Cup? The driver chasing his second pole in the series after taking it earlier this year in Barcelona, but Guiretti has something to say about it. He is going faster by a 1/10.5 in that first sector. Lap time deleted there. Klin. Lap time deleted for Marvin Klin. That is important. The driver who is, well, had a bad qualifying last time and it led to a bad race. Dehaan on the radio.
Back limit, turn 11. Back limit, turn 11. Hey, that is not me. That is not me. I swear, you mate, that's not me.
All tensions down a lick now as their championship rivals are improving and going quicker. Schuring currently at the front. Guiretti is still improving. He's still improving. Well, in Formula 2 qualifying yesterday, it was the battle of the Invictus. Today, it could be the battle between the Schumacher CLRT drivers. Into turn 13, Guiretti will be going for it now. The driver who started on pole position last time out in Spa, looking for pole once again. This is turn number 14. It's him versus his teammate. Two championship rivals going for it. Guiretti going for pole. It's P6. He lost time there. And Guiretti, that is not the qualifying he wanted. Klin is all the way down in 11th. That is unbelievable stuff. Guiretti is just ahead of Dehaan at the moment. That is critical. The two championship contenders are together, but Flint Schuring is on pole as it stands, unless Jalbert has anything to say about it. Jalbert trying to ignore all of the championship implications there are everywhere around this circuit. He is driving for himself. He wants pole position. He wants to end the season on a high. Burton takes the checker flag in P15. We're looking further back though. Here is Mathis Jalbert going for pole position. The checkered flag is flying. The driver in 5th ends up on pole by 0.003 of a second. Mathis Jalbert gets the fastest time, and that is pole position by 0.003 of a second. He's beaten championship contender Flint Schuring. And after all of the talk about Guiretti, Dehaan, Schuring, it is Jalbert who says, okay, yeah, you guys have your championship fight, but I'm on my way to P1 in qualifying. What a lap time by Jalbert. He'll lead the field away on Grand Prix Sunday tomorrow. Wow. Mega stuff. It was faster in Sector 1. Schuring was quicker in Sector 2 and 3, but the first sector was enough for Jalbert, and by only the smallest of margins. The margin there was between Lewis Hamilton and Max Verstappen in 2023 qualifying, if you remember back to that, that's exactly the same margin here today. But it is Jalbert who has done it. A driver who had to sit out races this year as well earlier on due to personal reasons, can forget about it all and celebrate.
Yes. Woohoo.
So calm, so collected. He knows that the job is done today, but you don't score any points for qualifying. It's all eyes on tomorrow. But considering the history that we have of pole to win conversions around this place, he's giving himself a good opportunity, isn't he? Flint Schuring, it might be second. Sometimes on your way to a championship, it might just be second places. But the driver third in the standings is way ahead of his teammate Guiretti and Dehaan, who are in the mid-pack.
You've got Paul. You've got Paul. You've got Paul. Yes. 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 I'm very sorry, someone just improved for 3,000, but you still have to go to the pit lane. Very sorry, but it's amazing. Very good job, mate. Very good job. We are CP2, and we start first row. Oh, yeah. Unfortunate, but still, mega job. Oh, shit. Still good job.
Oh, the heartbreak. You thought you had it. The team tells you on the radio you've got pole, and then all of a sudden, one of the last drivers to come across the line takes it away. And that is just Porsche Mobil 1 Super Cup for you. Ariel Levy, driver in third. Cut the chicane. Could that be race control worthy? Flint Turing is absolutely going to be like, I don't want to do anything with that. Also, can I just say, Ariel Levy, who's in third, he's also a driver fourth in the standing. So if he gets an opportunity, he could be there to capitalize. If tomorrow is a chaotic race, and Schuring, Guiretti and Dehaan struggle, absolutely say hello to Ariel Levy as a championship contender. A win would do his championship wonders if he can do so. Guiretti and Dehaan are in the mid-pack. That has not realistically been the part of the grid you want to be in so far this season. There has been lots of incidents, there's been lots of chaos. You are at risk of finding yourself in trouble. So it's important, it is vital, to keep it clean and improve positions. But luckily, Guiretti will be happy that Dehaan's with him. So, he's there to stop him if there's major improvements. And then same thing for Guiretti, and then Schuring's got Ariel Levy there as well. But Schuring and Ariel Levy have a chance. They're second and third, but it's Mathis Jalbert who's taken pole position. And then it's Schuring, then it's Levy, Borekamps in fourth, Havercourt in fifth. Then it's Guiretti and Dehaan, top two in the championship, 6th and 7th together. Overhouse in 8th, Hoover Eindhoven in 9th, Alex Tauscher in 10th place. Marvin Klein, after it looked so promising for him, it all fell apart with 11th. Masters in 12th, Jaap van Lagen in 13th, Francesco Braschi in 14th, then Burton, Stiak, Vestante, Ascona, Dirk Schutten in 19th, and Frank Porte Ruiz completes our second page. He's the driver in 20th position for Martina by Alvarez. What a day they've had. Deli Garanti 21st, then it's Adrian Flack, Sam Shaheen, and then our final few drivers are Martinez and Aaron Mason. What a qualifying! And leaves us set for some interesting race coming our way tomorrow on Grand Prix Sunday. Round 6 qualifying is complete. The team will make their way and bring their equipment down to the pit lane. And we will turn our attentions to race day tomorrow. Well, that brings the end to round number 6 qualifying. It has been dramatic. We've seen lockups, we've seen drivers pushing to the limit. It has been aggressive out there, but it's been brilliant to watch. Some of the best drivers in the world go at it around some motor racing circuit. Championship contenders in the mid-pack. Big opportunity for Levy and Schuring. Bring it on.